welcome to RunSignUp101. This is Jordan.
Hi.
I'm Chris. Hi. We're going to go through the race wizard at any point. If you have questions, this is a great time. Like the amount of time we have to do this, if we just walk straight through it and nobody asks questions, will be done very, very quickly. So this is the time to ask questions during the presentation because we want you guys to understand each step of this process. So we will go through the race wizard, and then we'll set up some customizable, like simple customizable features, like adding in logos, banners, changing colors, adding in a sponsor, just very superficially. If you want to go deeper into that, we'll try to find each one of the sessions that you can learn more about each topic, so that you can make a note and make those sessions later today. So how many of you have set up an event on RunSignUp before? About 50% of you? Okay, awesome. How many of you have a profile on RunSignUp presently? Same number? Okay. So I'm going to actually start with a profile already created, but if you were to sign out and go to the home page and click create a race, well, it's going to jump in and it's going to ask you to sign in or sign up. So I'm going to sign in to an account I quite literally just made so that it didn't have anything else in there. And it's going to drop us onto this page. This is the race wizard, redesigned by Darren here.
Thanks, Darren.
Thanks, Darren. And it looks fantastic. So this is the framework of your event. So all general information, you're not going to get into every single detail during this process. And the good thing to know, at any point, once you get through this, you can go back into the race wizard. So a lot of people get confused and think they can't get back into this. You can get back into the race wizard at any time.
So even if you've gone through, you've created the entire race, you've posted it, it's gone live, and then you realize that your description has last year's description in it, or you messed up a date or location or something, you can jump back in at any time, go to the race wizard, edit anything, and as soon as you save it, on RunSignUp, it's going to instantly and dynamically change. So even if someone's halfway through registration, things are just going to change for them.
So we're going to have fun with this because it is a test race. So we'll just call this, gosh, anybody have fun race name?
Fun race name sounds good.
Fun race name?
Fun race name, all right. All right. So this is your race name. I strongly advise you not to use, in this portion, the 25th annual or 2018.
Yeah, no dates or timestamps on this. So with the name of the race in the race wizard, this is how we also automatically generate the URL for your race, which we can show you guys later on. But essentially, if you call this the 25th annual fun race, then your URL is going to say 25th annual fun race. And then you're going to email us next year and say, can you fix my URL? And we'll do it because we're nice. But
don't ask me the second time.
Yeah, don't ask me again.
Okay, so I went ahead and put 5K and Fun Run just so we have a little bit more information in there. So again, there's no number annual, there's no 2018 in there. Race description, this is completely editable. So this, you can put in what your cause is or why you're doing it, where you're doing it. There's more information as we go down this, but this is, you can put event categories in there, like in terms of what you're going to do for awards. You name it. Whatever you currently see on other race pages, and not even on RunSignUp, somebody has their own website and they've got additional information, you can put it in the race description.
So one thing I want to caution is don't have a race description that's 10 pages long. We can get into this again later on in the race wizard, but we have what's also called custom sections. And that's where you can start to segment out some of the data there, and you can call it awards. And you can have a tab for awards, just a custom section for awards, versus, like I said, we've seen race descriptions that talk about the cause, then there's the age groups, the prize money, and it just goes on and on and on. I'm still scrolling, I haven't got to the bottom of some of them. So let us help you organize the data by using the custom sections. you can go into, I think there's going to be a website topic later on. We'll double check in here. I don't want to go too deep into it, but you're allowed to take some of those custom sections and actually put them off to a side, so it would become a side menu bar on your website or a top menu bar, depending on which template you're using. So not everything is overloading the runner with all that data. Maybe they don't need to see awards there. Maybe they just, if they want to see that, they can click a tab and go to that section. So
this would be, if you want to get in more into that, it would be with Megan at 2 o'clock today, building your best race website. That's not an external website. That is a RunSignUp website.
And like Bob said, these are only going to get better if Darren gets back to work. I don't know what he's doing right now, but
he's being moderate. Thanks, Darren. So we can just put in 1 North Street and then a zip code, because I don't know the zip codes up here. I'm going to put in 29414. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. So it automatically populates once you put in the zip code. Now, granted, if you are in another smaller area of that zip code, you can go in and change the city. You're more than likely not going to be changing the state because the zip code should.
What happens when you've got a race series, i.e. it takes place several months of the year?
So
Same race, same location, just several times a year.
you're more than likely going to be setting up multiple races for that. So you're going to have race 1, race 2, and race 3. Because you're going to want that data separated out into different races.
Yeah, it's just in the titles, obviously.
So yeah, you can call it race 1, or
XYZ series March, XYZ series, April, whatever you want to do. The reason you want to do multiple events, though, is so if I'm looking for a race this weekend on the calendar, I want to find your race. The problem is when you have a date range from April to December, it makes it really hard to find that race on calendars when I'm looking for a very specific what's this weekend, right? And we're coming out with a new tool. I don't know if Bob touched on that, but we just launched a new tool for series registration. So I can actually come to your event and sign up for all of the different events in one place. So I'm sure that's on one of these sessions somewhere around here.
yeah,
Or you can grab us later on and we can kind of show you how to do that a little bit more cleanly.
yes.
The info you put in here populate into the website off the RunSignUp. Is that full over here, or do you read?
Yeah, so this is going to go into your map. So if you put this location information in correctly, you can actually show that on a Google map.
Your race description, Bob, and stuff like that. Is that
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
so
once
you
we
don't
get
need
it
to put,
saved, we'll push over onto the front end of the web page so you can see how it looks.
yeah, you don't need to put the address of your race in your description because you're putting it in here. And we're bringing it over nicely on the race page for you. So say you're on the way to the race that morning and you could actually pull up the race and tap the address that you're putting in here. And it's going to open your map and make it nice and fancy. So you're not trying to drive and copy text and open maps like I've done before.
Yes.
Sorry. What about the venue name? So for example, if the race was here and you just stuck 315 Cherry Street on there.
Yep.
I don't even know if the address is sitting outside the building.
Right.
So how do I know it's here? Do you have a way to handle that? Does that make sense?
Well, you're here.
It doesn't.
Like the museum?
Like, right, the Science Center Museum.
Um,
The numbers 315 are probably not on the building.
Oh.
It's becoming more commonplace now.
Sure.
So I'm driving along, race morning, I have no idea where I'm going, and I don't see 315, but I see the Science Center, but that's not listed there. Do you have a way a specific way that should be handled? I can put in Science Center in address line 1 and put in the address in line 2, but I don't want to mess that up.
no, there's a couple different things you can do here. One, know that this is plugged in with Google Maps. So if you can Google Map the science place, you could potentially put that in. And again, this is where you can publish your race, look at the map, is that the right place or not? And if it's not, you can go and mess with it. We also have a way to enter in latitude and longitude coordinates, which again, you can use Google Map, click on the science place, and it'll plug that in.
I'm going to look at it. So I pull up my phone, and I go, oh wow, it's at the Science Center, which is at 315 Cherry Street.
I know where the Science Center is, but I don't know where 315
Cherry, yeah,
Cherry Street is.
exactly.
Right.
So-
I don't know if address 2 will mess that up or not.
We'll put Science Center into this, which obviously there's no Science Center, this random
Okay,
road, and
let's just find out.
we'll show you how it looks.
Well,
So
what road are we on right now?
I don't know what.
Chestnut.
Chestnut, thank you.
315 Chestnut.
What's the zip code here?
Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah.
19106.
19106. Philadelphia. What are we at?
315.
Did I spell that right? Drive, Avenue, Street. All right, there we go. Science Center. Boom. So moving on to race URL. Again, this is back where we typed in our race name. And if we go down to our auto-populated race URL, there's only one portion that is editable. Because, now, see, I just changed the zip code. It auto-changed the beginning of the URL to PA, Philadelphia, and obviously that's a fairly long URL. Most of the time, though, you're not asking someone, go to this URL, and then explaining all these words. If you're going to do something like that, and this is just my personal suggestion, if you really want to say, go to this URL, go buy a domain, forward the address to this. And I realize that is a 201 level thing if you're not used to working with websites, but it's the easiest way. If you have a, let's say it's the Philadelphia Kids Family Fun Run, that might be the name of your URL. And that's the easiest way to tell someone, hey, you need to go to the Philadelphia Kids Family Fun Run 5 or whatever.com. It will not let you pick the same URL as someone else. It will tell you this is already taken. Normally, I don't suggest changing this very much.
Yeah, you like your URL and you want to keep it, but keep in mind this is the stock URL that RunSignUp gives you, but you can also go to the menu inside the dashboard, and if you type in URL on the little search bar on your menu, you can create a custom URL that's a little bit shorter than all of that. And again, if it's not already taken, like if you try Turkey Trot, it's taken. All right, Santa Hustle, it's taken. But you can kind of create a shorter URL that's going to eliminate the state and the city and everything. So it'll just be runsignup.com/yourrace. So you can do that. Again, you just type in URL into the search bar on the top left.
So contact information and links, we're just going to go right now with race contact email. If you need to know exactly what this does, and almost every step of this that might get a little bit confusing, you can hover over these information buttons and it will give you a little bit more information. So this is the reply to header on the emails that go out. And so if you are a timer, this might not be, and you're setting up this race for someone else, you might not want to put this in because you might not have anything to do with water temperature or how many aid stations there are or parking or you name it. So if you're setting this up for someone else, you might want to put the point of contact, maybe not the race director, and if you're not the race director, you might need to talk with them about what name to put in here. And this is also where if you're going to be hosting results outside of RunSignUp, you can drop those in there. If you have your own website that you're going to be using, you can put this in here. Again, your Facebook ID, we did not create a Facebook page. We could put RunSignUp in there, but and then if you have an event as well. So just so your Facebook page and an event page, usually two separate things. So going back to it, we created a 5K and a fun run. The reason why I did that, I wanted to show you, you can set up multiple events under the same race. So most races aren't, or a lot of races aren't just one thing. There's usually some kind of fun run or a 10K and a 5K going on simultaneously. So event name, keep it simple. 5K run walk.
So yeah, the biggest thing that I see where people mess up on this is they will put the full name of their race as the event name. And keep in mind, this is what the runner's going to see when making their selection. The name of your race is already at the top. Is that runner just choosing a 5K, a fun run, a 10K? But people will put in XYZ, fun walk,
5K.
family, fun run, above the charities of the 4th of July, and Veterans Day combination series. And I'm just like,
Make it stop.
Right.
it just goes on and on.
Well, and it doesn't look good on your page.
Yeah, we'll show you what this looks like. When we
I'll,
get
for
to
the
end.
1 mile fun run, I'll make it obnoxiously long.
There you go.
So that way we have one good one and one bad one, and you can see the difference in between the two. So under type, it's a drop down. So 5K, let's say there's a cutoff time, and so it's 30 minutes. So I'm not going to be able to run it because I'm slow. So it's run only, and you want to let people know that, right? Maybe you don't put on running events. Maybe you put on triathlons or bike rides. Just so you know, you can also direct people if you do bike. Do any of you guys do bike races? Triathlons? So on that end, some people are like, I don't want to go to RunSignUp for my bike ride. Guess what? If you replace run with bike sign up actually has the exact same URL. Just change out that part. So same thing with try sign up. Everything else is the same. Yeah.
And I might be jumping the gun. We don't have different, like we don't have a 5K and a fun run, but we have corrals where you have to select the time that you would finish
Mhm.
our 10K. So would this be where you would do that, or would it be somewhere else?
No.
Corral setup.
Yep. We'll have a corral setup function.
Showing out 101.
Sorry.
You are like beyond
I'm
this
like
place.
We will likely not touch on corral if we have some time at the
But
end.
that
Well,
would be like a custom question or a custom section.
There's-
We actually have a corral management system.
Okay.
Yep.
That's all I need to know.
specific
Got
to
it.
that.
Search menu, corral.
Once we get to the back end, you keep saying search. We'll show you where that search is. It is probably the single most important thing to use on the back end. You don't need to remember where all this stuff is. That top left search, I use that search thing because it's so simple. Like there's no reason for you to navigate through every single, well, I got to click promotions and I got to click Facebook and I got to click this. No reason to do that. That search thing is fantastic. And it gets you up and running so much quicker. So,
Are those customizable, the type, right?
no,
That's just what you
yep,
have.
this is what we have in here. You can put an other in there if you want to.
Yeah,
For example, like, you have your 5K, and you have 5K for athletes with disabilities, and then 5K pushers of athletes with disabilities.
So you would still call it, you could still call it a run walk and just leave it open. And then what you would do is just change the event name to 5K run walk, 5K pusher, if they're registering for different categories that you're going to score separately.
Yes, I typically recommend doing that because a pusher, you might have a separate line of custom questions. So maybe you need to know you're registering under the pusher the 5K pusher category, who's doing the pushing, who's being pushed, and maybe those are going to be custom questions you want to ask only for those select few people during the registration process. So it kind of helps to separate that out a little bit easier. But the reason we don't let you add your own categories to this is because this is tagged into our calendars. So if people are searching a race calendar and they want to find just bike events, that's why these are tagged the way they are.
So
Start time. This is not when your packet pickup opens up. Okay, a lot of people will do that, and I find that in the description. They will make their start time when day of registration opens up. Start time is when the runners are expecting to start. So just make sure that's good to go there.
and we'll just go normal as can be at 8 a.m. Now at this point, because we have two events, we want to click add another event. And remember, we're going to completely mess up this name. So 1 mile fun.
I've run that race.
It's a good race.
I think that's a beer mile.
It's a post beer mile. So we'll leave this as a run walk because you can do whatever you want to there. And let's say it's going to start, whatever, at a very well, we got most events are usually fairly close together, but yeah, you could put any time in there. So our next section is processing fees. You can choose one of three options. You can absorb those fees, you can split them with your athlete, or you can have the athlete pay them. It is completely up to you what happens. Just so you know, if you need to know what the processing fees are, there's a very, very simple way of finding that out. You can quite literally at any point go to our homepage and pricing. And this is per cart. All right, so it's not per athlete, it's per cart. So most of events that I work with are saying that the race registrant, because these are fundraisers, and the whole concept in fundraising is to generate funds. So if you're absorbing cost, you're not bringing in as many funds. So processing fee is paid by the race registrant. If you want to set up donations, I can find, or you can find what time fundraising and donations is. But for right now, we'll just click accept.
Fundraising 101 was
Oh, great. Perfect.
earlier.
So I hope you guys went to it.
Y'all missed
Um,
it.
But if you have additional questions about fundraising setup, grab
Advanced fundraising.
at 12:15. So
Yeah.
now that the button is clicked, you can go to advanced fundraising. If you have a timer, you can set in the timer's email address, and this is giving them very specific access to your data. So they can see participant information and do some of the race day stuff. I think a few of you guys were in the talk that was just in here before about some of the race day tools. They'll have access to those tools. So your timer can help you with bib assignment or the kiosk or check-in, stuff like that.
If you don't have a timer, when you set this up, again, you can come back and add their stuff later, but you definitely want to do this because as you get closer to race day, this is just one less thing you don't need to deal with. So let your timer just jump in there, run sign up, and grab the data when they need it. So
what I usually suggest when you're first setting this up, number one, you have to click this that you acknowledge. It's the terms of the contract. Feel free to read that at your leisure. And then I usually suggest going to in the initial setup to save as draft. And that's so no one outside of the people that you're giving access to see this. And so you can update everything with it being private or with it being not posted until it's ready to go out. So we'll hit create race and continue. And now we go into a little bit more event information. So here we go. Already we see, oh my God, that's an obnoxious name in regards to the 1 mile fun run here at the bottom. So in regards to the 5K run, I'm going to move through this fairly quickly. I usually do not put end times in. I'm sure there are a number of reasons to put in end times, but for a normal 5K setup or a normal triathlon setup, there's no real, it's optional, and a lot of races do not set it up.
Might use that for course limit for a marathon, half marathon, something like that.
You would also probably need to be very clear that there is a cutoff, like the description or a custom section would also be a great place to make sure people know there's that cutoff. But yes, that would be a great way of.
So something we want to touch base on is the age calculation section on this page. If you're just doing a standalone event, you do not need to put anything in on age calculation. RunSignUp's going to automatically calculate their age at the day of the race. Not when they registered, but at the day of the race. Now, if you're putting on a series, this might be something a little bit different. Maybe if you're putting on a series, maybe you want to find out if you're going to do all the events of the series, we're actually going to do your age on the last day of the series or the first day. If there's point systems based on which age category you're in.
Or if you're doing triathlons, you would put in 12/31 of that calendar year. If you're a USAT sanctioned event, for those of you that are on the triathlon side. So we'll leave it blank because it's just and we can put fun additional info in here. We'll do the same thing. And this is just so we can see what it looks like when we get to the actual event page.
Yeah, stuff for additional event information. Again, big no-nos for this. I've seen people literally copy and paste their entire race description into this little box. And that is not what that is for. That is to tell people that the start line for the 5K is maybe different than the start line for the 1 mile. Most of the races can leave this blank, but we do have a couple races where it's actually crucial. Like if, you got races that all finish at the same spot, but they have different starts, and maybe there's buses. So that might be where you want to say, bus for this race is here, bus for this race is there. But again, a lot of that you can leave empty.
Stop 3 on this tour of the Wizard is registration. This is where you put in your price bumps or price increases. So if the event was free, we'll make the fun run with all the letters. free, so you can see what that looks like. But we'll do this at $20 for the first 2 days, and then we'll go, and it automatically, when you add another period, if you get this registration close date for that time, it will automatically open registration immediately at the next available date. So if I made this at 2:34 p.m. and I add, it automatically goes to 2:35 p.m. And so you can close registration. You don't have to have price bumps. You can have your $20 fee or $5 fee or whatever the entire time.
I don't recommend it.
I don't either.
So if you look at our race trends report, you'll see the majority of the people that are registering for races do it within 2 days of a price bump. So it's a way to kind of push a little bit of traffic through. And again, if you're putting on a race, you want to charge more for the people that register later because it's harder on your logistics. You're trying to compensate for the extra shirts and the porta potties, and it's just common practice, and I think it's good practice as a race director myself. So,
And this,
that's a name.
again, is an awesome name. It's the longest name I've ever seen. So we'll make this event fee $0. And so you can also go in and change the waiver text. So if your company has specific waiver text that you need to use, then you can highlight all of this and change it out.
So that's changing shortly. Our waiver, essentially what's going to happen is we're looking at the option, this is kind of part of like USATF, is we want to be able to have the ability to have multiple waivers for the race because we don't want the RunSignUp waiver to go away. We want to make sure people know we don't own your data, you own your data, blah, blah, blah. But then you've got your own waiver that you're going to want to be able to plug in. And then if it's a USATF sanction or USAT, they want their own waiver plugged in. So multiple waivers is coming. You don't need to use it, but it will be here.
So for those of you that are doing other, like again, going back to the USA Triathlon side of things, you can, that's set up through, we likely will not get to that. If you have additional questions afterwards, I can walk you through it with real examples. But you will put in your USAT sanctioning identification number, and you do not have to drop in their waiver. They actually have built their own API into RunSignUp, so all of that is housed like separately than this waiver. So you can have this waiver and the USAT waiver that they have to sign.
And it will
Right.
collect, it'll go to the USAT website.
It goes
and collect,
directly to
and
USAT.
then you'll get the reports after.
Yes, and the monies go directly to USAT as well. So you will not see that $15 one-day licensing fee. You will not be cutting checks up for online registrations that paid. But if you're opening registration super early, the annual license, if they're not renewed by your race date, you'll have to deal with that side of
It
it.
doesn't force them to renew their.
It will,
license.
yes, it will. Yep. But if you're opening it like in middle of this year for next year, a lot of people don't have licenses yet for next year. They haven't renewed yet for next year. So just keep that in mind. And we can talk about that later since the triathlon side is a little bit smaller.
Multiple waivers coming, going to require multiple sign-offs, or can you batch them all within one sign-off?
I'm guessing those are all going to be options of how you want it done, or if it depends on if USATF is going to say we demand that you have to do a retina scan, thumbprint, blood sample, then that'll be in there for theirs, and maybe RunSignUp supposed to be a checkbox.
You can change the way you have to sign your personal waiver. All you have to do is click this button at the bottom. When you're registering multiple people, all of these are options. I'm going to just leave it as a checkbox.
So this is what I'm guessing is we're probably going to have those. You'll be able to choose like which one for which waiver. So
I strongly advise not allowing the registrant to skip signing the waiver, just because now you have to collect it after the fact potentially. But again, that's your choice as to how you want to collect that.
we do track these, by the way. So when people come in and register and sign up for the waiver, we are tracking the IP address that they're coming from. So if there's ever a dispute or anything, we can actually pull that data up and say, you know, Jim Smith, you signed the waiver from this IP address, which is centered pretty darn close to your house. And, you know, so there's some actual data that comes out of that.
For giveaways, this is normally t-shirts. So you can easily say the 5K yes, and it automatically adds in small through extra large. If you want to do something else, because you have 2 events like this and everybody gets the same thing, you can actually click this handy button at the top and you can select all. So it selects both of these. If you have 10 events in here, which is a lot, but you can select whichever ones you want or don't want, and you can select yes, and all of them change. Let's say you have one more giveaway option that's double X, and let's say that your double X cost you more money. So guess what? Again, you can do whatever you want to here, but you can charge more money for one versus the other. And you can make these in different orders. So
Never, ever, ever change the name of those boxes once somebody has registered. Those boxes are basically locked on to the person. So if you already had 100 people register and you go back and change small to extra small, those 100 people that already chose small, you basically just made all of them have an extra small. So that's why we allow you to add boxes and readjust them.
yeah.
So when you're adding boxes, is that where you put like female cut, male cut?
Yep.
You got it. So there's that. So something else, I don't want to go too deep onto this, but something that has like saved my life for my race is we have an inventory management system, which is a little more of an advanced thing, but you can put, once you've ordered your shirts, you can go back, drop this in and say, okay, I ordered 72 smalls, I ordered 100 mediums, and then RunSignUp will look back and say, all right, 50 of those are spoken for, you've got 12 left or 22 left, whatever the math was on that, and it'll plug that stuff in. If you're going to use our inventory management system, it will eventually say sold out on sizes. So the runner knows during registration that their size was sold out. They need to choose a different size. If all the sizes are sold out, you will need to put an option on here that says no shirt. Otherwise, they won't be able to move past this step. For my race, I say no shirt, and I actually do a negative $5. So that way, they don't complain that they're not getting a shirt. Expectations are met. My volunteers are not getting yelled at. And I actually I get nice tri-blends, so I pay more than $5 for my shirt. So I actually make more money when somebody says no shirt and I give them $5 off. So I'm actually making more on that runner. So it's better for the race. I'm not stuck with 100 extra shirts that I can't get rid of. And expectations are met for everybody. So
Do people sometimes do no shirt so they can get the $5 off?
all the time.
Because they don't care about the shirt.
They don't, because some people just have too many shirts as it is. You're an avid runner that's doing 30 races a year. Like, I mean, how many shirts can you have?
So while these questions are going on, I'm going to let the questions continue, but I'm going to go ahead and keep moving through these two. I'm going to add in a race logo and add in a banner. So in adding a race logo, I think I have a really fun your logo here. So again, you could put any JPEG or PNG. It actually tells you right here. You could put, I've never seen one with a GIF file, but I guess you could. And then custom banner images. Let's say you don't have a banner image or you don't know how to resize things to, because it tells you right here, it must be 1200 by 400. So you can select from an assortment of runner images.
I like that one. That was nice.
This one he likes because he's in it. But I actually looked for one that I was in, and but I custom cut that to 1200 by 400 pixels. So that is something you need to do. If you don't want directions on the race page, you can unclick that. If you want to use a contact form instead of listing your email, which I strongly advise, just leave that checked. You can change the word event to something else if you want to. For most races, you're not going to need to touch this. Like on a 101 level, you're not going to need to touch it. This is where you can add a custom section or page if you wanted to do an awards section or something like that. So you could have awards and then awards categories. Let's see. Yeah.
Something to touch base on about the custom, the email section up top there is, does everybody know what a contact form is? Or does anybody not know what a contact form is? No? Good. Okay. The reason you don't want a contact form, that's okay, great, perfect. What that is that's going to be just a box that if people want to reach out to you, they put their first name in, their last name in, and they send a message and hit send. They don't get your email address to directly email you, and the reason you do that is because people create what's called a web crawler that will just crawl websites and pull off that type of data, and
Then you get spam.
so that's why we went to this, because somebody crawled the website several years ago, and there's nothing, it's not illegal. So
Payments. I already have a payment account that I'm going to add in. The payment account is, if you went through this and you know what you're doing, you from start to finish could set up a race. If you already have a payment account set up, and I think the fastest you could probably do it is like right around 5 minutes.
you do imagine.
Fair enough.
Come on.
I don't know. I'm slow clicking. So for your first go, I would give yourself, it might take an hour or so to set everything up on the Race Wizard when you're not familiar with it. So it's still not a lot of time. The payment information is something that you can set up now. And again, like I already have a drop down because I have an account. I can set up later, so I can send instructions to my nonprofit's treasurer, whomever has the EIN information, all that.
That's a big one for timers that are setting up races for their race directors. Timers can go through and set up all the races, and then they can just drop that link in, and then the race director or whoever will actually get that, and then they can come in and set up the payment information, so they don't have to send their private banking information to the timer.
If you're doing this, I would strongly advise you not starting to take transactions now. It's better to get everything set up in advance. So I'm going to set it up now, and we're going to save and continue. And then congratulations. So at this point, we can go to the race dashboard, or there's a big blue button down there, and it takes us to the back end of the web page. So this is the dashboard. I would strongly advise you guys, like if you want to create a test race or something like that, you can. And then you can go in and click that button at the top that says View Website. And again, it's going to tell you this race is in draft mode. You've got your sign up. Remember, we clicked the Allow Donations. And then we have the race name. We have the date. We have the location. And oh my goodness, let's look. What looks absolutely horrible? One of the main reasons why you don't want to use a super long race name. So again, it tells you the amount. At this point, it is in draft mode. The place, again, it does say Science Center on that second line. So the race description, we just put a one-liner in there. Remember, we didn't put my email address. It just says questions. So no bot scraping or anything like that. Strava, as Bob talked about, is one of our national groups working on the sponsorship side. So that you can automatically remove with one click of a button if you don't want this Strava information on there. We put a custom section in that again just said awards categories, but you could. This was just right there at the end. And then 315, Science History Institute in Google Maps.
And we put the address on there.
Yeah, we did put the address. So
all this stuff you can move around. Like you said, you can remove the Strava stuff. We could do sponsor logos on here to fluff it up and make it look nice. And all that's going to be covered in the other session about the website building.
So where do you start, if you want to add sponsors, where do you start?
the back end of the website, like the back end of your dashboard, and there's right here says sponsors, and you just start in with setup, and it is not a hard process. You're dropping in a JPEG, a URL.
Right, logos.
Yep.
Yeah, so some of the key things that we want to talk about to make sure everybody does when they're setting up races. The biggest things that we think are the most important are if there's sponsors for the race, go to the sponsor section, set that up. These people are giving you money, give them something in return, make sure their logos are visible. We do track their logos and how many times they were viewed, so you can actually go back and say, thank you, Mr. Sponsor, your logo was viewed 20,000 times on our website. and you're actually giving them some data back. Other stuff that we think is very crucial to set up is the email marketing. We have automated emails in here where when the price is going to jump up, RunSignUp will automatically email people that the price is going to jump up. So if you have past participants, so maybe you've renewed the race, then they're going to get emailed, hey, you haven't registered yet, price jumps up tomorrow, blah, 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 or you've already registered, make sure your friends know the price jumps up. And that email is custom tailored based on if they have registered already or not. Incomplete registrations. If people started to register for your race and for whatever reason abandoned that transaction, we will automatically send them an email saying, hey, sorry we missed you, love to have you back. Here's all the information that you need. And these are just simple automated stuff that you guys can do.
So that, on the abandoned,
Incomplete?
registration, you've already written that message, can I customize that message?
Maybe. I'll let you. But yeah, so it's actually very nice and templated already. So
We're almost out of time.
Yeah.
I know there's other sessions.
There's one other thing, and that is the emails. And so you will want to turn on automated emails. So email marketing, automated emails, and you will, like, one of the biggest helpful things here is the price increase email. And so the first time it'll ask you to set up your SendGrid account, and it's going to take a second to do that. So we'll just leave it there. But like setting up the automated emails will go out to your previous and current participants about price bumps that are going to happen. So all you end up
show them
doing,
the template quick so you can see that real fast. You gotta hit save first and then that button appears. And you'll be able to edit it. So this is the template that's we've automatically done for you. So we just grab your banner, we grab your logo, all these links are hot links. And then it's even custom text with replacement tag, so it'll actually say, hey, Jim Smith. So this stuff's in there, and again, you can absolutely go in there and start editing this stuff. And there'll be other sessions that will go deeper on this.
if you're in race 4, 5, or 6 of your event, or even year 2, you can import previous participants in for a previous year, and this goes out to them on your price increases. So that's why we say price increases are so important.
And that gets branded with your logo and all that. That's
Yeah, I mean, this is
Yeah, this is
everything. We
constructed.
just created all of this stuff, and the race sponsor that we just created too is in there.
So you've already got, you literally have to do nothing, and this is doing it for you.
And you'll just see, why did a whole bunch of people just registered yesterday? Oh, that's right, we're 2 days out from the price increase, and we had an automated email go out.
Does this automatically factor in exclusions for people that have already signed up? Or do you have to-
So there's 2 different sets. One is current participants,
Oh, right, there
and
you go.
and we can exclude, so we don't have 2 years of data, but you can exclude previous year's participants as a data set in there. So one goes out to current as, thanks for registering, tell your friends. One goes out to past, hey, you registered before, save some money and come back and join us. So we're a few minutes.
Are we over now? We're over?
Are we still over now?
Okay, sorry.
And if you guys have additional questions, I'll hang out in the hall and be happy to go through stuff with you.